Do you really love drugs?
Yeah, I really do.
You really do?
Yeah, I gotta admit it. I do. I think drugs are what's happening, and I advise everybody to do them, especially young kids.
Is there any drugs you haven't done that you won't do, but you sort of want to?
Okay, cigarettes. I won't do cigarettes because nicotine will kill you. And I don't really drink a lot of booze, you know. Alcohol will kill you. But I smoke all the pot I can find. I don't smoke it all at once. I just do a little bit at a time, you know. And I used to take acid, but I quit around 1971.
How about ecstasy? Like, there's a lot of new ravers that are into ecstasy and stuff. Are you into that?
I've done ecstasy, and it was great. You know, remember John Lurie from Stranger Than Paradise, an actor?
Yes, it sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, him and I did ecstasy together, and we had a very nice time. We sort of chatted all night. And, well, some strange man necked with his girlfriend in the room, in another room for about 4 hours. And she came out of the room, she was on ecstasy too. And she thought it was John. She was necking with a stranger, and she thought it was her boyfriend.
Are you a Canadian still?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I might have lost my citizenship, but I don't think you can lose your citizenship. So, yeah, I made it in LA, so sometimes we get disbarred from.
But you were born in Canada.
Born in Edmonton, eh? University Hospital.
Right here.
Right here in Edmonton.
What year?
1938. May 24. 1938. In fact, my mother said there was firecrackers going off. They had a big celebration.
And you got on a rock and roll tip right off the bat?
I was about 16 when I found out that music could get you laid. So I got into music, boy. Didn't matter what you look like either. You know, you could be a geeky looking guy, but if you played music, whoa, you get the girls.
What do you, that band Four Ends on a C, now didn't you also join Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers?
I was the original guy that started that group. Bobby Taylor, I started out with a group called The Shades, we're in Calgary. The first group.
Not The Shades of Blonde, was it?
No.
Featuring Mel Shaw, 49th Parallel, 60s Garage Punk, Danny Lowe, Q Sound, Madonna?
No, but they probably got the name from us if you say Mel Shaw. Is Mel Shaw Jr. or the guy that discovered the Stampeders?
Mel Shaw, the guy who discovered the Stampeders.
Okay, well see, he was a groupie hanging around when we were, our first band was called The Shades. It's because there was a Canadian Indian, black guy named Tommy Melton, Indian named Dick Bird, and myself, it's half Chinese. We call ourselves The Shades because we're all different colors. And we used to do a stage show. Then we added Eric Murray on drums and Pete Watts on sax and my brother on bass. And then we called ourselves The Shades. And we played Calgary and Edmonton from 1955, 56 to 58 when we were asked to leave by the mayor. We went to Calgary, then we became the Little Daddy and the Bachelors.
You got a pause button on that thing?
Pause, yeah, what's up?
Well, I just want a picture, man.
Okay. We're taking a picture.
We were like pals in school.
Yeah. We did time in detox together. The Betty Ford Clinic.
What happened? What happened? Like Bobby Taylor, Vancouver's. Like you started that group. It was the first Canadian group, or the first non-black group to be signed to Motown. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, we had a #1 record. Yeah, there's a lot of history there. We discovered the Jackson 5. They were the opening for us one place, and
that was Bobby Taylor who discovered. Or you helped?
Well, we were there. We were all there at the same time. We're playing a Chitlin gig, Chitlin circuit, all the black clubs. And we played the Regal Theater in Chicago, and the Jackson 5 were opening for us. And so we took him to Detroit and had him signed on with Motown.
Was it hard to get signed to Motown, being a Vancouver band?
Well, I had an after-hours club in Vancouver, and when any of the Motown acts would play, it was called the Elegant Parlor. Whenever the Motown acts would play in Vancouver, they all came down to my club, because it was like black after-hours booze bar. You know, it was hip, and we played music. That's when the Vancouvers, we played there, and so the Supremes actually discovered us first. They were partying one night, and they told Barry Gordy flew in to Vancouver, seen us, signed us, and we went to Detroit.
Going to Detroit. What year was that?
1967.
Because around that same time, have you ever smoked anything with Neil Young before, Tommy?
I've never met
Tommy.
I never
Tommy.
I never met
Tommy.
Never met Neil Young. I just seen him in a movie where he had a big coke booger in his nose. That's the only time.
And they airbrushed it out.
No, they left it in.
No, The Last Waltz. They airbrushed it out.
Not in the version I saw. Big, huge coke booger.
Because he was playing with Rick James at the time, and they recorded an album for Motown that was never released.
I met Rick James later, and I met George Clinton later. The only Motown people I knew were the Temptations, Smokey, Stevie.
How about any of the King artists like Brown? Did you ever party with James Brown?
Well, James, it's weird. James, their band used to come to the parlor and sit in with us. It was really
His band, the
weird.
JBs?
James Brown's, that great R&B band, the drummer.
Bobby Bird or whatever.
No. Yeah.
Let's see.
Some famous guy.
Oh, Fred Wesley? Maceo Parker?
Maceo. No, Maceo played sax, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Trombone or trumpet.
Yeah. Well, they used to sit in. One night, this other promoter had a club upstairs. He was trying to go psychedelic, and this at the height of the Motown era. And he booked all these groups that later went on to become mega superstars, like Janis Joplin and the Rolling Stones. And he had this club upstairs, and he couldn't make any money with it. It's called the Retinal Circus. And he used to book, and my club was right below that, in the basement. And our club would be packed, and his would be empty, with the Stones, with the Rolling Stones. They never drew anybody. It was amazing. So this one night, all the James Brown's band was playing on stage, and we're up there jamming. And I look in the back, and I could see Mick Jagger and Keith Richards trying to get in the club, and they couldn't get in because it was too crowded.
Because James Brown, what do you think his drug of preference is? Because he was known to do angel dust.
Well, James went through a bisexual period that was real funny. Remember that song, Please, Please, Please? Well, James had a gay lover at the time, and he'd be on his knees. If you look at some film, you see him on his knees, and this guy would run up and throw a fur coat over him and pick him up and carry him off the stage. Remember that? And then James would break loose and come running back and please, please, and he'd sing some more. And then this guy would, the guy that would run out and grab him, that was James's lover. So James was very heavy bisexual for the longest time. And then he changed, I don't know what happened, but
He ended up he was trying to open a bunch of burger restaurants in the ghettos. Did you hear about that? What was that about?
James, man, he's from the South, and he was like a down-home brother, Not too many smarts, like the rest of them, like the rest of us. Anybody in rock and roll, we just knew one thing, music. And James is one of it. He was a cool guy, though. I met him.
Have you seen him since, or did any of the old rock and rollers phone you up at all coming through town?
They got short memories, a lot of them, man. They don't remember. Well, they're old fuckers, too, I know, like Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson's father doesn't remember me. I met him one time.
Maybe he doesn't want to remember you. Selective memory.
He's fucking stupid, man. He doesn't remember me. He does not. I look him in the eye. He doesn't remember me. It's weird, man. I think I don't know, whatever. Jermaine and all the rest, they do, because they were like they had a half a brain,
When did the Vancouvers break up? Was that your last band before movies started?
Yeah, I got fired. I got fired. I was getting my green card, so I had Motown paying for it, myself and the bass player, because I knew how important a green card is, working down the States. So I had a gig. I was backing up. Bobby had left. He went on with Smokey, and the Vancouvers were backing up a girl called Chris Clark, who was Barry Gordy's White Girl of the Month Club, you know. And so I had to leave town in the middle of the gig to go to do an interview to get my green card, and she fired me for leaving the gig. This is after I told her what I had to do, and so I got fired. So I quit the band and came to Vancouver and started an improv group. Then I met Cheech, and
Had Cheech been in bands before?
yeah, he was Little Caesar and the Chicanos or something, you know. He had a Chicano band, like a Ricky Valley kind of band, and he also was in Calgary. He sang in a Bragg Creek outside of Calgary, and yeah, he was in a lot of bands.
Do you get any Brian Wilson stories?
I met him Cheech and I were playing Vegas one time, and we walked in the elevator, and Brian was huddled in the corner. And I don't know how long he'd been riding the elevator up and down. I don't know how long, but he's kind of comatose in the corner. So we never said anything. We just looked over. I was Brian.
I didn't even want to help him.
Nah, what can you do? He's fucked up. Met Ted Nugent one time. That was funny. Just recently. I said, "Hey Ted, how are you doing?" In the elevator. I said, "I'm Tommy Chong," and Ted says, "No, I'm Ted Nugent." And I said, "No, Ted, I'm Tommy Chong." He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, man, I'm deaf." He's like, he's deaf. He can't hardly hear.
How about Elvis?
Elvis sent us a Christmas card one time. That's the closest I ever got to Elvis.
Why would, like, who would send you Christmas cards? Why? Just celebrities to celebrities, or any particular reason?
I think Elvis probably got into our movies, and, you know, that was his way of saying, you know, hello. That's about all I can think of.
How about Margaret Trudeau?
No, nothing on Margaret, no. I was doing movies then when she was fucking Mick.
Did you get to go to the White House and meet Nixon? Any White House?
Close I got to the White House, I was in the Swedish embassy with Peter Sellers one night. Peter was going with the daughter of the ambassador, and I had a gig in Washington, and Peter called me up, and he said he sent me a telegram saying the Swedish ambassador requests the presence of Sir Ashley Roachcliffe at the residence. And Ashley Roachcliffe was a character from one of our records. And so I went there, and we had a great time. We played records, got stoned, and kept ringing these bells that the maids would come in. You know, there's a bell there, and it said service, so we'd push it, and a sleepy maid would show up about 10 minutes later. "Can I help you?" And we'd look around. "Oh, yeah, get us a beer." And so she'd get us a beer, and then we'd start. We had a good time because it was legal, because it was on Swedish territory, so we could smoke dope.
So, Tommy Chong, how about the Beatles? It's been rumored that John and Paul had some wild escapades in different rooms. Did you ever hear anything about that?
I met John and Rod Stewart in a bedroom the same night. It was at a party at Lou Adler's house. And they were in there. I was going to go and find a place to smoke a joint. And they were in there. John was sitting on the floor, kind of he was in his Mei Ling era, you know, the Chinese secretary. And Rod was sitting on the bed. I think he was going, or he just met Britt Eklund at the time. And I come in, I said, "Hey, how are you doing, guys?" Lit up a joint, and they freaked. They were afraid of the immigration. And John wouldn't take a toke, and Rod wouldn't take a toke. So I said, "Fuck you," smoked it myself.
All right. Well, anything else you'd like to add to our video documentation of Tommy Chong's evening here at Highwood 1993?
If I don't get paid, I'm going to take a whole lot of Marshall amps home with me on the plane.
All right, Tommy Chong. Doot doodaloo doo.
Dude.